Welcome back, everybody, to another Two Tamers Talk. Jeff, what's up?
Guys, guess what? We did it. We have 2K subscribers.
We did.
Seriously,
we did it. Thank you.
Thank you to all the fans. Thank you to everybody that got all their neighbors and friends or significant others or whatever, just made fake YouTube accounts and got us subscribers.
Whatever it takes, right? Yeah.
We appreciate it. We cannot do this without you. Now we're just so close to 3K. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But I never thought we would hit this. It's crazy to think how fast we did it.
Yeah.
And how great the channel's doing. I'm just loving the direction.
Thanks again to all the great contributors that jump on the channel and help us out.
Absolutely.
Trying to get as many new, awesome, fresh faces on here as we can. So
yeah, I love it.
It's going to be so much fun moving forward, just having more and more people come on and give their perspective. So,
and it's nice having, different specialties.
Yeah,
for sure. So it's nice getting the people that are way better at the card game than I am that come in and
both of us,
and teach us like some awesome tricks and and we got a fun little surprise for you guys today. I'm sure you saw the thumbnail, so you kind of know what you're clicking on.
We do, yeah.
Speaking of better players, but there was locals.
There was locals, yeah. We are filming this a little bit later than normal, so we are post locals.
Yes,
for this week.
Yes. So unfortunately I didn't get to go. I had a work event happen, so I had to go play Kiss Up with the Boss, I guess, and had to skip Digimon. But there was 22 players without me or Jacob because we both were at this event, which means there would have been 24 with us. That's
crazy.
Awesome turnout. Shout out to Wayward again for just hosting and growing the scene. But
it was a packed house.
I heard someone we knew won.
I did. I won.
Yeah.
I was a there was 2 undefeateds at the end of the night. Me and just stay tuned for the rest of this this episode. There's a cool interview with the other guy who got first.
So
place.
The real question is, why didn't you guys play it off? And there could only be one, like real Highlander style.
We are a community-based card shop, or Wayward is.
Yeah.
We play at a community-based card shop where we've tried 5 rounds before, and
it's brutal, man.
It's brutal. It's very exhausting. People leave kind of tired. Some people can't stay that late because they have kids or obligations or jobs or, et cetera, et cetera. So Wayward is always awesome about prizing out the 2. If there's 2 undefeateds, they both get prized out, which is really cool. So it's a player-based shop, and they do a great job at making sure that everyone's lifestyle is accommodated.
So what you're saying is we need a gameplay video of you two.
Ooh,
settling it.
Tough. Yeah, that would be Ulforce versus Merva Rush, I think is what he was playing.
Ooh.
Yeah. If you guys want to see our deck list, join Wayward City Games' Discord and jump into the winners podium, and you can see the changes that we made. But,
absolutely. I love the deck list. I get posted there.
So Ulforce was really fun last night. Did really well. Got through some tough matchups. First matchup was a great friend of the channel, his Millith deck, which obviously I don't test against that, so I had to kind of figure that one out on the fly. And then after that I went against Ravemon, and
it wasn't me playing Ravemon either.
You playing Ravemon. Luckily I just know what that deck does because I've played against you so many times with it. The burst mode's terrifying, and you literally just have to use all the cards. Like I just built my stack because I knew if I didn't, those cards would get trashed out of my hand.
You set it up. You set it up.
And then I went against a really strong Royal Knights deck that I've lost to multiple times.
He's getting so good.
Another fantastic player. Alphamon is really tough to navigate against with Ulforce. You just have to hope that you can swing at a suspended Digimon. You can still get your unsuspends and stuff. And then final matchup again, I went against Quartzmon and Bloomlord.
That's the one. That's the deck that's been terrifying since the beginning. It has been
terrifying me. Yeah, that's the one that I've been kind of knocking on doors trying to figure out I've tried 25 different kinds of removal for that. It's like whether or not it's a top end to level 7 or it's a bottom deck spell that costs $1 million or a return to hand spell that costs $1 million. Like there's really not a lot of good outs for it.
Absolutely.
But I did take some good inspiration from regionals.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're bringing this up because what was it, like last week? You posted your update for Ulforce or the week before, whatever. Very recently.
Yeah, very recently.
And then and it's funny because where you're at now, you kind of started here. Like the first Ulforce video you posted was pretty close to this, right? And now looking at this first place winner.
This is of the latest regionals.
You took some awesome inspiration from this. So I want to hear you talk about Ulforce and why this is the direction you needed. And I also want to know why you started with the Leo package, went away from the Leo package, and then came back to my boy Leomon.
All right. You know why?
Because he's awesome.
He's good. No, I really like that. I really like that package, and I didn't take everything out of this list.
Yeah.
Sore Eyes I didn't do. I mean, obviously this is a fantastic player. I'm still not sold on that starter deck Vmon. I don't run those.
Yeah.
I can't find it in myself to run 5 level 5s. I run 6.
I know 5 seems so low.
It's
like
so tight.
That reminds me of the Jessmon days.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too. But
and then
you just play such low ratios. It's like, how do you get away with that?
Ulforce X I think is really, really strong in this format. So I can't get away from 2. 3 Davis. I'm at 2.
I think that's good. I think that's a good call. Yeah.
And then I run a 5th Leomon.
Yeah.
And I really like that. So that's kind of the differences between my decks. But I started with Leomons to kind of circle back on your first question.
Yeah.
I started with the Leomon package because I really do like all of the things that does, especially the Jerry's when attacking your opponent's attack.
The decks synergizes so well with each other. It's like you're not forcing yourself to go out of your way to play Ulforce by including Jerry's and Leomons. It just fits in naturally.
Absolutely. But Blue Flare.
Is that what made you get away from it?
Yes, because I would get to the finals match. It happened to me 2 or 3 times. I'd get to the finals match, and I'd be against Blue Flare, and I would try my best not to, I mean, if you have the Jerry's, then you want to play the Leos, but it was really hard. So it would put too many bodies on board, which would activate all their stun effects and all that stuff. And I just found myself just always running into it.
Yeah.
And so I took him out, and I went with a more like I did Tommy. We've seen that in some deck profiles too. So I did a little bit of hybrid stuff. I messed with a whole bunch of stuff. But I ended up landing in the OTK version of the deck.
Yes.
With an Omnimon to swing for game, or another Landamon to swing for game. And high-speed plugin, which I still run. I still think that's a very important card in the deck. But yeah, I went for just like one OTK stack kind of version, and I was having trouble running into Hunters and anything that ran Quartzmon specifically. And I was actually had a nice little break at work, and I was able to watch this person take Hunters on in the finals match for the regionals. I got to watch all 3 rounds, and my mind was just blowing it.
Like, you're just like, okay.
I was like, what is this list? How do you find room for Sore Eyes? And
that's
then
what I think too.
And then he dropped Death X, and I was just like, I've had it in the deck before.
You definitely have, yes.
Yeah, and I was just like, that has to go back in, because that's my Quartzmon removal. And in a deck like Hunters that goes wide with Tamers, that's an easy way to out Quartz. And so that went back in, and the Leomon package is a great counter for a lot of decks in this format. Being able to essentially use your Leomons as memory boosts when you need to.
I think if they didn't have the on deletion gain memory, they wouldn't be as good because a lot of things can target it.
Yeah.
But having that memory, they almost don't want to delete things, right? And then you also have a blocker to protect yourself.
Yeah. But being able to swing them, and I mean, the best part is if you want to swing them at suspended bodies that are bigger just because you want to gain 2 memory and draw a card, it's totally doable and usable in the deck. So it also, and I noticed that's kind of what limits some of the draw cards that you would normally run in this. The 2 V-Tamers doesn't feel bad anymore.
Got it.
Because you're drawing off every time they attack. It's really good. The Jerry's were really good last night against Shine Gray Ruin mode.
Oh yeah,
because I had 2 out. I didn't have a Leo to play, but I needed to draw cards, and they had a Shine Gray out.
Got it.
And I was able to drop a 3rd Jerry and know that I'm going to draw 3 more cards next turn because they're gonna do the Shine Gray thing where they swing and put the blanket down. And it was just like, cool, draw 3 cards. Boom, I got the level 5 I needed. Go on out, because none of my 4s are really that. I mean, the Leomons are, but the Vidramons are 6Ks, so I can still promote, survive the blanket, and do some fun stuff. So
got it.
Yeah, this is an awesome player with an awesome list. I mean, they're obviously better than me because I can't. These ratios terrify me.
The ratios are terrifying. It just feels like if you don't have luck on your side, or if anything goes wrong. Now there are ways out of it, right? Like having blue memory boost definitely helps. Having the Davis to help search, which might be part of the reason of playing 3.
But all 6 of those cards bottom deck arenas, which is
and it's like you need the arena because I've seen what happens to you when you bottom deck yours.
Yeah, it sucks.
So then, what do you think this matchup is now against Blue Flare? Do you think it's as detrimental because people are changing the direction of Blue Flare, kind of going more for that jamming OTK kind of style Blue Flare or super aggressive compared to stunning more? What are your thought process on the Blue Flare matchup now that you've added back into Leomon, especially since you took it out because of it? Well, I don't think you and I have played Ulforce with the Leomon package with my Blue Flare, so that'd be also something interesting to test.
There's a big piece that we didn't have back then, and that's Ulforce X, because we were still in BT11. We didn't have the finisher piece. Which is that extra bounce, that extra board clear, that extra take away that second body on board.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really strong.
And now that you're mentioning it, I think you're right. I think I've watched your list as you made your update videos to it. You went from no Ulforce X to slowly adding them in and going with them. So I've been seeing you put in a lot of work with the Ulforce X. So I guess that makes sense. I like it. You know, I'm always happy with Leomon. I'm a big Leomon fan. I've always been. I love Leos. Cannot wait for some fun stuff next set. But
they're really strong. And like I said, I went up to the 5th one. I went up to the BT1.
I'm liking that you went up to 5 because
I do like it for the memory boost. It's really strong, and you want to have one in hand.
Yeah.
At all times, essentially, now in this deck.
And it's not like it's a 3-cost Evo. Like sometimes things are totally a different tribe, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of fun. So if you are playing Ulforce and you're on the fence about the Leomon package, now is a good time to play it
and start testing it and see what you think, because it seems like it's the way.
Yep. All right. Well, since we're talking about regionals, that's a great segue into the best part of this episode. We got Basil and our buddy Justin in the house. He Earth.
So happy
from if you check out the results. Banda hasn't posted them as of today yet, which is Thursday, but they should be posting the latest regionals results. He got 3rd with him and Basil have been collaborating on that deck for a while. So
so stay tuned to the channel, because not only have we had a top 4 with Shine Gray, now we have a top 3 with this awesome unique deck that we're about to dive into the interview, and who knows, maybe we'll have 2nd place on soon.
All right. Well, stay tuned, check it out, and we'll wrap it right back, and we'll see you in a bit.
All right, guys. Well, we've got a special segment. We're going to delay from our normally scheduled broadcast, and we've got a guest in the house today, someone who you do know, but only because I've talked about them a lot. Anytime you've ever heard me on a deck list or podcast saying a friend of mine, it's almost always the guy sitting to my left. Justin, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it took me this long to come, because I've listened to the podcast for a decent while now, and I was like, oh, he always mentions me, never says me by name. I appreciate it, except my brother, which is funny.
Sometimes, this is Justin and Arthur are 2 very prominent players at our local scene, and just recently, Justin has took it upon himself to enter online tournaments. And just recently, he ended up getting 3rd at the last regional.
Yeah, you bugged me for so long. You're like, sign up for this Ultimate Cup.
Sign up.
Sign up for this regional. Go get your Nats invite. Oh, they changed it, right?
But, at the time, it was Nats invite, but now it's 2-round buy at Nats.
Right.
But you ended up getting 3rd, and what did you play, Justin?
Well, I played the BlackWarGreymon UTK deck. It was featured on the channel. Kind of had a little bit of iterations, changed a little bit, but I did it with BlackWarGreymon OTK, and I was talking to some people. They call it Ruby, red, white, black, yellow. It's a pretty interesting deck. It's really, really fun, and I think it's kind of unexplored in this meta, so I brought it and did pretty well with it, I think.
Yeah, you went X1.
I went 8-1.
Yeah, let's talk about the tournament itself before we talk about the deck. So what were the matchups? And just take us through the tournament.
So I think a lot of people, when they do tournament runs, they usually lose out middle of the tournament near the end. But I lost my first round against BlackWarGreymon X Antibody. So I lost to the evil doppelganger. Some unfortunate checks in security, but that's okay. And then I had this tournament run is not ordinary. I think I had 2 buys afterwards, so my tiebreakers were completely doomed. If it was 8 rounds, I don't think I could have gotten 3rd. But after that, I went through the Red Hybrid Gauntlet, played 3 Red Hybrids in a row, which is, surprisingly, you think about Red Hybrids, not a lot of decks can like race them card for card, security for security. But I think this deck definitely can, especially since they check you first. You hit a memory boost, you hit a cool boy, you just win the game on the spot. And then I played against Blue Flare, another matchup where you kind of think you get outraced by a really aggressive deck. Kind of the same story. They check you first. You don't really leave bodies on the board. And we can talk about this later, but when you leave level 4s on the board or decks that can't deal with level 4s, it's really problematic for your opponent, and it makes your OTK turn go that much faster. And then I played Royal Knights, which is also a matchup that I didn't think was hard initially, but we did a lot more testing prior to the event and realized Alphamon is a really scary card.
Our BlackWarGreymon costs more than 10.
Yeah, that is true. And then you would think that, like, oh, after one Alphamon, they're done. They're not done.
Recycle it.
Recycle it, Gankumon, whatever. But managed to win that. And then I think I played against another BlackWarGreymon X Antibody. So my final round was BlackWarGreymon X Antibody. Got the revenge. Pretty happy about it, honestly. But this is one of those weird cases where when you play in a tournament, you kind of expect a certain matchup spread. I didn't see a single Galmon matchup, which is really bad for the deck. I think it's its worst matchup. I didn't see any shine, But at the same time, this tournament was a little bit more surprising on the top end, and Ulforce won, right?
Yeah, Ulforce won. Hunters was the most represented deck in top 16. A Bloom snuck into top 16. So a lot of decks that you don't really expect. Not a lot of shine, not a lot of... Well, there was Belphemon was represented, but not a lot of shine. A little less Royal Knights than we're used to seeing.
Right.
But let's talk about the deck in specific. So if you all haven't seen it yet, there is a version of that deck on the channel. So pause the video now and go watch it, and then come back. And so since then, we've changed a couple of cards. And so, Justin, just take us through some of those flex spots and the decision-making there.
Yeah, so in tournaments, a lot of people, the correct number, when you go to a local, when you have a lower sample size, you play 10 to 11 rookies. It's mostly where people kind of agreed on. You have like an 80% chance to see it, somewhere along the 90s, right? To always see a rookie so you can play the game. But in tournament, you are playing a lot of rounds, and one of the justifications I made on the lower end, on the rookie slot, was 13 rookies. We're on 2 starter deck Agumons, the one that...
It was just one in the video.
Right. And we're 3 searcher, the yellow-red split. You need the yellow source, which kind of sucks because I really would like to play more of the DP ones, but searcher is good. It doesn't really have the greatest inherited, so we kind of went back on that. And then we're 4 red Agumons and then 4 X antibodies. So that was the first change, and I think it's a major change because when people will look at the deck, they're like, wow, that's a lot of rookies. And most decks can't afford to run 13 rookies, but when you're in a tournament, at the very least, I want to be able to play, right?
As high consistency as possible.
Yeah, high consistency as possible. And then on the level 4 side, I think another big change there is we're at 2 security Greymons. I think that's the newest addition.
Yeah, our original testing with it, we didn't like it as much, but I think the pairing with the structure deck Agumon, you can get pretty aggressive on the level 4. If you have a Greymon X over a structure deck Greymon with the structure deck Agumon, it's 2 checks at 8. Yeah. Which is pretty good for turn 2.
Yeah, it's good for turn 2. It gives your deck another alternative win condition. I didn't get to use it in most of the games. The deck is very consistent, so for most of the tournament, you see the OTK, but this is another weird decision where with this specific deck, it's 13 level 4s. So we're 26 cards are complete air and security because it's like, low DP Digimon, which some people might be scared of. Others, so they'll look at it and kind of understand. But the main idea is you cycle through these level 4s and 3s a lot that you want to see multiple in hand, and especially on the OTK turn where you need to make an entirely new stack. And then we dropped the Lightning Joust for the security Greymons, and one of the...
You still played 1 though, right?
Yeah, still 1. I still think it's a really good card, but the Greymons are searchable, so that matters in consistency. And then you can... we were talking about earlier, swinging with 2 checks at like 8K or 10K. Even if it dies, you can get it back with a Chimeramon. And as long as you have your black source and you don't need anything else, Security Greymon is a very good target. And if it comes out of security, it acts the same way as Lightning Joust. Because Lightning Joust adds to hand and you have to play it from one memory. But if it comes out of security, you just revive it back with Chimeramon. And that's where you get your, your 2 checks.
And then I think the last difference is you were down 1 Blinding Ray and up 1 BlackWarGreymon.
Yeah.
I think you played 3 and I played 2.
Yeah, I think you can go either way with this. And this is kind of the only disagreement we have about the deck. Having another slot for another Fireball or another Blinding Ray, all great justifications. I just don't have the heart in me to play 9 rounds and then see a Greymon in security and red memory boost and send one to the bottom of the deck.
Yeah,
you know.
Two BlackWarGreymon seems scary, but I promise it's not.
Yeah.
Because the way I thought about it was, think about playing like 2 Grandel Soul in Bloom.
Right.
And the same odds of you having 2 Grandel Soul in your security for Bloom is the same odds of you having 2 BlackWarGreymon in your security
for
this deck. And, one wins you the game and one loses you the game. But in any case,
you have a chance to prove it. So we're both in the same regional.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
I think
we are. Let's talk about that. We've got another regional. You're watching this on Friday, so we have another regional tomorrow.
Right.
And we're both entered in it, and we're both playing the BlackWarGreymon deck.
You're convinced, right? You're gonna run.
Yeah,
it?
I'm gonna play it here for sure. I'm also considering it for the Pasadena in-person regional.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of a different meta because of the
structure decks are illegal, so that's the next thing I want to talk to you about. In particular, matchups for this deck.
Sure.
Looking forward to structure decks. We're already in the RB format, but even looking forward a little bit further into BT14, what do you think is the future for this deck?
Yeah, this deck, I think it's appropriate to talk about the level 4s. The Greymon X antibodies, the one that gives Greymon specifically protection against bounces and destruction. So spot removal and bounces don't work on it. And if you think about, or at least this current format, right? It's just Marcus is going to minus your DP, and there's going to be some kill spells, but they don't really do anything. And if you look at like blue, they have bounces, doesn't care because of X antibody. Sorai, the Chimeramon stack has 10 sources, so it doesn't really care about Sorai either. This deck, just off of those traits alone, I think is really timeless. I mean, they could get, there's going to be some decks that run Lonk and Chaos Degradation in the future.
Yellow Vaccine in the future.
Yeah, that deck in particular in BT14 will change it a little bit, because prior to that, we didn't have to run cards like a Delicate Plan to stop security coming from security options coming out of security. But we can worry about that in BT14.
Yeah, true.
But I think the deck is still really, really good.
And what you think you'll make room for red training then?
Yeah, Blinding Ray is the biggest problem in the deck because it's a card that we want at 2 to 3 of. We want the memory one to try to go as fast as you can into that OTK. But the problem is it gets whiffed on, you can't get searched, you need a yellow source, which also is like a random problem this deck has. This deck's main skill expression, I guess, is the fact that you need to keep track of colors and which ones to have, or else your OTK just doesn't work. If you don't have a black source, you die. If you don't have a yellow source for Blinding Ray. But other than that, I mean, just off of the traits alone of how the OTK works, there's no other OTK strategy that had like this amount of protection, right?
Yes. Thinking about things like Grandis, it was a big DP threshold, but no protection on the swing.
Yeah, no protection on the swing.
BlackWarGreymon was limited because it was a lot of damage and a lot of protection.
For sure.
And stuff like that has either been limited or has not had that level of protection.
Right.
So yeah.
I mean, even if you look at the best deck or the agreed on best deck Shine this format, it doesn't have that much protection. It has protection in the sense that even if the OTK turn doesn't work,
the Marcus's
come back and they can drop a ruin mode on you and things like that. But I mean, it recently got hit, right? The newest ban list.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't know. I think this deck is still really good. Red tradings make it a little bit better. It's a little awkward because you can't evolve onto the promo WarGreymon because it's a black Digimon, right? Got a lot of colors going on. But other than that, I mean, the deck just gets better. The new Agumon support looks really interesting. I'm excited to talk about that, with you later on. We'll see if it fits in.
Yeah, we'll see. It's how many good Agumons can you really run in one deck? But the last thing I want to talk about, you talked about the ban list just a little bit. I know you're in my camp. We agree that zero cost memory options are problematic. Just give me a little spiel about that, a la BlackWarGreymon.
So I'll steal somebody's comment about this. They say that Digimon is a really cool game because of the tug-of-war system, the memory system. You kind of have to work with what your opponent gives you. And Blinding Ray and Gravity Crush fundamentally ignore those cards, that condition, right? And I played against a red hybrid player, and he kind of summed it up perfectly. He's like, bro, I didn't know how much memory to give you. I didn't know what turns you were going to kill me. And it's really hard to play around that idea. Like, he saw it the first game. He didn't know what the deck was. And then next game, he was struggling to put me at a good memory counter. And especially red hybrids. They don't have the best memory control. They can do it. But the fact that he doesn't even have the option, as long as I have, like, 3 Gravity Crushes in hand and then you die.
Yeah.
That kind of interaction I don't think is particularly fun. I think one of the reasons why I brought the deck in the first place is, hey, Bandai, look at these cards and tell me they're okay.
Our crusade to get it banned.
Yeah,
it started with Mervacross, and now we're here.
Yeah, we're on the better version where, because in Mervamon, your Mervamon doesn't have protection. It just dies to any security option, right? And this deck in particular just abuses those cards so much.
It combines the best draw engine in the game with the most amount of memory gain in the game, and in a deck that attacks you 1,000,000 times with protection.
With 19,000
DP.
Yeah. So I think those cards are, really good. Some people have the argument of they don't have any security effects. They have a downside. They're inherently negative. They're dead in hand. But in reality, all you need is a really good draw engine to negate the fact that they're dead in hand. And then they say, oh, it has a bad side effect. There's a downside to them. But if they die before the downside even matters, does it really matter that they don't, have these bad things? And in the end, the Digimon it's a game about how good is your win condition. Security control grinds you out. Ulforce might OTK you. BlackWarGreymon kind of controls the board. But in a deck that's the win condition is kill you in 1 turn. It's like, if you can't even stop that, then it's a little rough. But
true. Well, Justin, any closing thoughts?
Excited for this next regional. I was really happy. That was my first regional ever. I got 3rd. Go figure. I got really lucky, like I said. If it was 8 rounds, I don't think I would have gotten this high placement.
You'd have gotten a meager 10th.
Yeah, 10th. Well, I'm saying it because my tiebreakers were so bad. I needed the last round, right? But regionals are really fun. I think everyone should go and try them. I think they're a very different experience from your local scene, so heavily recommend it. Try different decks, but ultimately do what you think is fun. I think the BlackWarGreymon strategy is really fun. Just swinging 7 times is kind of decks that appeal to me.
Excellent.
And OTK is really strong because your opponent can't react to it. And those are really good strategies. So,
all right, Justin, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to toss it back to Jesse and Jeff. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
And we're back. Thank you so much, Basil.
And
awesome.
Justin,
and Justin, like, seriously, thank you. I'm super excited about this. I'm a little jealous because I love doing the interviews, but Basil, man, you did a great job. And everybody jump in the comments, give it up for them. And honestly, the deck list.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's really cool. Like, I've loved that promo BlackWarGrey, and I've loved the Chimeramon stuff, but I've never kind of put them together until they started doing it. And then it was like, it's so cool. It's really nice when you have a giant stack. Digiburst to 2 like that. So, and I mean, the results speak for themselves. I mean, 3rd place.
3rd place.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. Congratulations again. Well deserved, well fought, man.
Yeah.
Good job.
My favorite part of that deck is, like, it's been their mission to get those cards banned. And so
I know.
They're not doing it because they like those cards. They're doing it because they hate them.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
And I get it. They're really strong cards. And my favorite part about that deck is how the Chimeramon synergizes in the fact that as soon as you Chimeramon, which activates all of your colors, it also does the best thing that the deck needs, and it will kill all the floodgates on the board that will stop you from gaining memory. There's nothing that'll survive. There's no floodgates that will survive a 4K
I do too, man.
DP.
I think Chimeramon is just going to forever be my favorite level 5 in the game. It's so good.
It's something very universal. And
well, I mean, it's cool because, like, they're 3 search everything, right? So that you're already building 1 in stack. You're already playing 3s to search with X antibody. All you have to do is get to a level 4, promote out your other one, boom, Chimera, you're there. It just makes sense. It's an awesome list.
It's a crazy list. So.
Yeah.
And they've terrorized our locals with it for multiple weeks.
Definitely,
now, so.
definitely. I did take 1 out of like 6 games against him when we were testing one day, so I can say that I've beaten a 3rd place regionals player before.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't shuffle good, they red memory boost and they send 3 BlackWarGreys to the bottom.
That's all it takes, and I can win.
Oh, they still find ways.
Yeah, they do. They're too good.
It's really good. All right. So, enough with the positive. Let's get to the doom and gloom.
Oh, jeez. I'm not ready for this.
Rest in peace, purple players, right? Obviously, this doesn't hurt my heart as much as it hurts my brother over
devastated.
here. Yeah.
I'm devastated.
All right, should we talk about? Let's ease into this. Let's do purple stuff last.
Okay. Can we start with something I never thought Bandai was gonna do?
What's that?
Unban things. Unrestrict things. Excuse me. Unrestrict, not ban. They were not fully banned. There's only one banned card. Sorry. If I was a betting man, I never would have bet that Bandai would unrestrict cards. Because, it seems to me that they kind of make new cards to fill in roles that they kind of restrict, or they give new tribes, archetypes, whatever, a new way to do things or something. So to me, like the Tommy unrestriction,
yeah, we can talk about that one.
Crazy. Like I never saw this coming, and out of the two that they took off the restricted list, this is the one that I'm okay with.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with blue hybrids making a comeback. I don't think it's as devastating as it was. Obviously, you don't have MDF, right? And we never experienced that in the U.S. anyways, unlike Japan. If you ever get the chance to play test that, try the MDF blue hybrid deck
with Susanoo.
It is stupid strong. It broke the game in an awesome way. So, but I'm okay. Tommy wasn't the reason that deck was strong. It was the MDF.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I really thought Tommy needed to be restricted in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because right after that, we got all the X antibody stuff.
Because we were already kind of past the hybrid format of the game, and they restricted it past the hybrid format. It was, like you said, X antibody stuff. So.
It was a reaction ban.
It was kind of like
before a bunch of new stuff came out.
It felt
probably
late.
kind of overtook
it. Felt late, and I don't think Tommy was the reason. Yeah, obviously it's strong. Helps with the stunning and stuff with the Korikaku and stuff. But I don't know. I was always like, it doesn't need to be banned. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm interested to see some awesome, because when they take these cards off the map. When we get new blue hybrids, we don't necessarily go back in our brain and be like, well, let's try blue hybrid again. It's because you're like, oh, they took out one of the strongest Tamers. It's already dead. But now I've seen some crazy lists because we got one of the best blue hybrids in the game post Tommy, and that's Lanamon.
Yep, Lanamon's
and I am really interested to see. If you look at the EX1 Gabumon prices, the alt-arts are going up. They're like $40-some now. Because it's the best tuck for Lanamon in blue hybrid.
Is that why it's used in the Ulforce deck too that we just saw? I was going to ask you that. I completely spaced on that.
Yeah, so it's a really good tuck for Lanamon. You Lanamon, you tuck it, you gain jamming, you swing, you search Tamers.
That's crazy.
Or other Gabus. But it's really, really strong in the blue hybrids format. So if and when.
But I don't know if blue hybrids got, yes, obviously Lanamon's insanely good. Don't get me wrong. But are you going to fit in the Gabumon and blue hybrids when you're already playing Strabimon in that deck? Because I never thought we were going to have to talk about blue hybrids again because it's been so long.
And I think that's why they unrestricted it, though. It's because I don't think they plan on giving any crazy future support to it. And they want to open that archetype back up, just like Jessmon. I don't think that we're going to get... We might get another Jessmon eventually, but we're so done with Royal Knights for a little bit.
Hopefully no
for a little
Jessmon.
Bit, right? At least for the foreseeable sets that we know about.
Yeah.
So I think that they really wanted to open those Jessmon floodgates again because he is a very strong Digimon.
I definitely want to see people bring back blue hybrids and want to see it in locals and see what it's like. But it's not like the red hybrid stuff, which got so much support just a couple sets ago, where it became a top deck. Right? I don't think Blue Flare can necessarily compete with that, but it'd be interesting to see what happens for sure.
I mean, playing the Tommies out of security is really strong because especially now that you don't see as many X antibody options in the format.
Yeah.
Stripping 3 sources just on play is pretty good, especially against red hybrids. I mean, you're taking the Tamer away. You're taking away essentially up to the Aldemon.
Yeah.
Which gives you the protection, right? I think. Yeah. It could be good in a lot of different formats. Machine.
Yeah.
Good against Machine Dramon, stripping 3 sources off per play.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm okay with it coming back, because it's nice to have some more counters to certain decks out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes Machine Dramon feels like, obviously I'm a huge Machine Dramon fan.
Yeah.
Love everything about the dude, the deck, the lore, all of it. It does sometimes feel like it's a little too strong and it has no way to answer it, right? Unless you really tech against it. So I don't necessarily hate the idea of this unrestriction. But
and let's be fair, we have Hades Force now. Who cares?
Yeah,
you can kill a place at a Tommy's with one.
But you know which one I'm terrified of? I'm losing sleep over.
Don't say the Savior.
I'm losing sleep over the Savior Huck, man. Because Jessamon was a nightmare back in the day, and a lot of the Jessamon when attackings are not once per turn.
The unrestriction on the Savior splits the deck in two.
Yeah.
Because it totally disregards the need to Jessamon GX. So you can take that card out now because you don't need it.
You can make the deck almost more consistent.
Because you want to swing with your Jessamons and unsuspend.
Yeah.
You don't want to, because every time it's kind of like the purple red Imperial where you can do cool stuff, but you're going to pass turn and give them 4 because you still have to pay the Jessamon GX.
Sure.
You know, pay the toll.
Sure.
So unsuspending doesn't really help you out because it gains reboot anyway. So who cares, right? So it does create an older style of the deck that comes back.
Yeah.
But not necessarily the same. You kind of have to pick and choose. Do you want to swing for multiple checks multiple times, or do you want to swing for 9 checks one time with GX?
I think Jess is going to be stupid strong. I think Jess was super strong with the GX, and I mean, not only that, I think this benefits Genku too, right? Like
it does.
You can really use some Genku, get some Genku X cool stuff going on with this card as well. And I'm glad I never got rid of mine. All my pre-releases of that particular card.
Now the event packs are through the roof now too.
Oh, there's an event pack of it?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot there was an event pack. I have the pre-release set.
$40-$50.
Jeez. I mean, that's one of I don't understand the reasoning of why they felt the need to unrestrict that. Like, is Jessamon about to become a mascot at some point of something
I think
where
they just wanted to open that door back up and let it compete again and see what happens.
That's crazy to me.
I don't think it's going to dominate anything. I think it could be, a tier 1 or tier 2. It's definitely strong. I mean, all the sister mons that we have, it has plenty of support now, especially with the stuff we got in 13.
Yeah.
So there's some cool pieces for it. So I'm excited to see people open it back up again and try that unsuspend method and play out a ton of bodies and that kind of thing.
Guys, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of the comments about the fact that Bandai is actively participating in the game and unrestricting things, which we kind of never thought was going to happen. Let us know what cards you want to see unrestricted, and let us know what you think of the Tommy and the Savior Hug coming back. We definitely want to hear about it.
I know a lot of people were calling for if Tommy comes back, where's Jet Sylphie?
I'm okay with Jet Sylphie coming back. I really am. Like, yeah, it's just heals, and I think people can get around that easily or easier now,
Yeah. So let's talk about what goes away.
Oh no.
Let's do purple last. We'll do purple last.
Okay.
How about let's just talk about the mock Galgamon. I didn't see that on anybody's list. Really.
I really didn't see that coming. I that's one of those. Maybe I'll have to talk more with Basil.
Yeah,
figure out, pick his brain. Like, why do you think this happened? Because I'm kind of not understanding.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mirage go crazy at regionals.
I wonder.
It competes, but it's not like it did really well at Ultimate Cup. But I think they're changing that format.
Yeah, what I'm kind of thinking, right, is I'm wondering if with the purple restrictions we're gonna talk about in a sec, if Galgamon gets really strong in the next couple sets, anyways, and it was kind of like the second place deck out of the purple in the Japanese scene. I'm not as up to date as I usually am. Yeah. Forgive me, guys. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that mock Galgamon. But I'm almost wondering, with the purple restrictions that we're about to talk about, if that all of a sudden becomes too strong. The Mirage Galgamon all of a sudden dominates because of that card. So I do a little bit more research. Guys, jump in the comments if you know. I want to hear what your thought process is behind the mock Galgamon restriction, because it does kind of seem like a little bit out of left field.
Yeah. The other part was the Geo Gray, which
I think a lot of people saw that coming. Well, They saw something coming from the deck, but most people thought it was going to be the Marcus themselves.
Punch Marcus,
yeah.
So I think that people were in two different camps on that. And it's, I think it does slow the deck down, but I think that it's still the deck. I think it's the good call because it still makes the deck very playable and you can still compete. There are still other Geo Grays you can put in. There's other level 4s you can put in. You still have your full Marcus package. You have all your shines. We have all that vaccine support coming in the next set too. Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff. So I don't disagree with the Geo Gray. The Geo Gray it's insanely strong. When you run 8 Marcuses, the chances of you having one in security, I mean, run the numbers. I'll get Justin to run the numbers. I'm sure it's crazy.
Probably like 72%.
Super high.
I don't know, because he was saying 6 is like 54 or something, whatever. I don't know.
Well, 8 Marcuses is almost 20% of your deck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just the odds that you're going to find one in there, and some of them play other Tamers too.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sucks when they restrict a card that could be used creatively in other decks because of how good it is in the main piece is going to be. Yeah. We've been having a good friend of ours playing a fun Agumon deck with that Geo Gray to grab like the red tie out of security. And then he is also playing Marcus's too, so he can punch as well.
Yeah.
Right. And, so it's been really fun seeing his deck play, and I've been loving it. But it kind of sucks when the fun decks are getting hurt. And I mean, to me, I'm not against restricting anything in the Shine Gray deck.
Yeah.
But if you've noticed, the last couple regionals, Shine Gray has not been topping as much.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Shine Gray, out of all the decks in the regionals, is probably the easiest to play around if you put in counters in your deck.
Yes. Because it has little to no protection.
Yes.
And it has to do all of its effects in the battle area. So
that's why we've been seeing blue do so good, because Sorai, right? All you do is you're like, well, I need Sorais for the Shine Gray matchup, as well as Royal Knights too. But you're just like, I'll just put it in there because Shine Gray.
Yep.
Right. So I definitely, again, don't disagree with them restricting that. Was that the right piece in the deck? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll
see how
we'll see how that's. Again, let us know in the comments what you think. Because definitely curious what your guys' thoughts are for sure. It's going to be a fun conversation.
Yep. And now we fight, right?
We're about to fight.
Yeah.
I'm about to fight everybody.
I am pro restriction on the purple cards, and he is devastated by all of his decks that don't do anything.
Thank you to everybody who is a Garurumon fanboy, because you've all ruined my life.
Or a Pokemon.
No, I like a Pokemon. I don't care. You are now all on my naughty list for being Garurumon fans and playing the really strong metal Garurumon X antibody line and trying to win all the time. And why would you take such a great color with purple and mix it with blue? It's gross. I mean, in all seriousness, like, I understand why people were calling for the Eismon restriction, and people have been talking about it for a long time. But that's the thing with purple, right? Like, purple's advantage was the draw engine, right? And for me, if you guys have seen a lot of my videos on the channel, I use that Gabumon Eismon package. I've exclusively the BT2 Gabumon for a long time. I've used it in my most recent deck profile. I used it was the Ace Megazoo. And I was like, now what do I do? That deck is gone. My entire place, my whole identity is gone, man. What am I supposed to do when I can't play the Gabu? I can't play the Eyes. The draw engine's so nice. Yes, there are alternatives. I understand there's Dark Lizardmon. I understand that there's other draw one, trash one. I get it. And I still know that I can play a one of the Gabu and one of the Eyes and all that stuff. But it's just not the same, man. It's like
it opens room in your deck.
No, there's no room. Okay, first of all, this is talking about my jank decks, right? Talking about my Avenge Kid Turbo and talking about like my Ace Turbo and all the other decks that play this draw engine.
Yeah.
Those decks needed this, right? Because it needed the card advantage, especially like, I was thinking about trying it with Raidenmon because you pitch the Sujin, Raijin, and Fujin, right? Now, how am I going to do it? I'm just still kind of losing sleep and lost for words.
You can still do it. It's just a little bit slower.
But like, I understand why they did this for the Melga players. Like, obviously, Melga becomes really strong, but I think they could have hit other things and left my Gabumon alone.
Well, they did it for that. They've done it for a few different reasons. The other one, too, that's killing in Japan is a Pokemon is nasty, and it runs the same package.
I think that's the real reason.
Trash. Yeah.
I think that's the real reason that both of those got hit. Yes, Melga's really strong, and they could have hit something over there. But by doing what they did hit, they kind of hit both at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it sucks because I was looking forward to a Pokemon because it's my play style. It's purple. It's bad. I've been wanting it forever. And I mean, I don't know if the answer is to ban a Pokemon instead of these or restricted or whatever.
I don't think they're going to do that because in the history of the game, they've never gone after the head of the deck. Yeah, they always go after one of the arms or one of the legs of the deck. Yeah.
Well, in this case, it's everything that it needs to stand on.
This is a kneecap, yeah.
Everything it needs to stand on because now I can't draw and trash.
But what I meant, you still can. It's just
it's
not draw 6, trash 4.
That's way better. That's so good.
I know.
Purple needs that.
Draw roughly 10% of your deck.
Listen, it's not my fault that every other color
deck.
sucks and doesn't play good draw engines and can take advantage of the trash, right? You guys just need to get better. Be like purple. What do you want me to say?
My point about opening room in the deck was because when you run the 4 of the scatter modes, you always ran 1 of the other restricted ones.
Yes, absolutely.
Now I think there's really no reason to run 1 of the other one because your odds of getting that combo
I agree.
are drastically reduced.
Yeah,
so now you have an open level 4 spot in your deck.
So for all the decks that I play, right, I'm freeing up 1 card by the Avenged Kid because I still want to play like the same not a level 3, same amount of level 4s, but now I'm just going to have to mix my Gabumons, do one of the starter deck, one of BG2, and then 2 of the newest starter deck.
Yeah.
So the first one being ST6, whatever the purple starter deck was. I think it's 6, either 6 or 7. I can't remember.
It's like the only card you use out of that entire starter deck.
Yeah, but I've always preferred the BG2 one. A lot of people like the win attacking. I like the on deletion because it's more cards.
Draw 2, trash 1. Right?
Draw 2, trash 1. And not only that, I was so excited with RB1. I got a foil version of it.
That's right, yeah.
Finally, and I was like so excited. I was going to play Avenge Kid next week because I get to use this foil Gabu.
You still can.
It
doesn't go active until the 17th. I
don't know, man. I'm gonna retire from Digimon or be a dirty other color player and not be able to draw and trash anymore. I'm devastated by this. So
well, the good news is it doesn't go into effect until the 17th. So our regionals will be unaffected that we're going to.
But that doesn't change when I'm playing for regionals.
I know you're not playing. Yeah.
Unfortunately, because again, I'm not playing the meta decks with those particular cards. I'm playing my more fun combos and my pet decks, and
that's what
like
you're more scorned by. Is the fact that it's good for fun decks.
It's so good for fun decks because like a deck like Raidenmon or that Avenge Kid deck that I've been loving so much, like that draw and trash engine is so good for it.
It is
right, and so it kind of sucks when they hit a card and it takes away from the players that don't necessarily play meta like myself all the time.
Yeah.
And now I can't play my fun deck and have that really strong draw engine to keep up with the meta deck. So now I have to hurt myself almost more than it hurts them, I think.
Yeah.
So but I get it. I understand. I definitely am not dumb to the fact that Apoclymon's brutal and that purple is dominating over Japan right now.
Yeah.
And that a lot of people are upset about the power balance and I get it.
Because the Anubismon deck runs it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, every purple deck basically runs the eyes stuff.
Yeah, because why not?
So why not? Exactly. So I mean, there are alternatives. I think we talked about Dark Lizardmon. Guys, jump in the comments. Let me know what you're going to use for those alternatives. Like, what do you think you're going to use instead of an eyes? What do you think you're going to use instead of the Gabumon? Or are you just going to be like me and play 3 different Gabumons now because one of each restricted? Because it's crazy they hit both of the Gabus. They didn't hit just BT2. They hit the STE one, right? Isn't that one restricted to 1 now, too?
I think so.
I think they were because they hit both.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they hit both, which is crazy to me because Garurumon players ruin everything.
But yeah, no, it's good times for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I'm really curious to see the meta shift, especially with the additions.
Yeah.
Not only the subtractions, but to see what these new... Because we had some players coming back that joined the scene after this. They have no idea what those cards do.
Yep.
Or why they got restricted. So I guess they're about to see. Can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're ready to wrap this one up with a little bit of cards of the week.
Sure.
I guess you'll just kick it off.
My card of the week is BT2 Gabumon. This is a rest in peace. I'm forever going to miss you. I am so attached to this card, and it's really unfortunate that I'm going to have to let it go.
Just think how excited you're going to be now, though, when you get that Gabu Eismon stack. It's going to just... It's
like when
great.
I'm playing Chosen Ones or something at this point. I mean... Oh, gosh, because it's so funny because I would play a lot of my decks, a lot of my funner decks would be just 4 eyes and 4 Gabu, and that's like it for like 3s and 4s. And, I'd play the Scatter 2 or whatever, or the regular Eismon.
Yeah.
And I would get that stack quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I would get it, and I would just draw and filter and trash. It would greatly accelerate my decks because you got to do something to speed up the jank decks to match up with the meta decks. So, no, this is my card of the week, and this is just going to be rest in peace. And
well, in memoriam.
In memoriam, we'll play a nice, quiet little song. Maybe at the end of the episode, we'll fade to black, put rest in peace, Gabumon, or something. I don't know.
He's adding work for me. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. So that's my card of the week because this card has now ruined my week.
All right. Mine is a little bit more upbeat and positive, but also very self-explanatory, and it's going to be Jerry Kato. This Tamer is amazing. It's great.
Yeah, it's
perfect for the Ulforce format. It's always been good, but I think now, particularly in this format, it's an easy add, and the deck is a little bit more tempoed to control, and it helps you set up all of your pieces and gain a bunch of memory from your Leos dying and stuff like that. So, and just being able to, I remember the first time I played against your Leomon deck. And every time I attack, you're drawing like 3 cards, and so you always have the pieces.
I went through my deck so quick with that. I still love that deck.
So it's it does wonders for Ulforce as well in the same regard. So I'm just gonna put it out there. It's a great package to put back in your Ulforce list if you took it out like I did for other reasons. So
yeah,
that's gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. Any final words for episode 59?
Why? Why did you take my Gabumon from me? Right. Why did you take my Izamon from me?
All right. Thanks, Bandai. Feel free to jump in the comments and reply. We'll see you guys in the next one.